Hi everyone, and welcome to our December newsletter video. Hope you're enjoying the start of the holidays so far. Today's productivity tips and tricks. I want to talk about Google Chrome, some of the essentials and foundations that you might know already but need a reminder of, plus some productivity tips that I've either gathered myself along the way or I've heard some great ideas from other people and wanted to share them with you. So let's dive right in. The first thing that I want us all to be super familiar with is this concept of signing into Chrome. It happens automatically on a Chromebook, but if you're on a Mac or a PC, this is something you want to keep an eye on as you browse the web and use the Chrome browser. And so when you're in a Chrome session, just like we see here, if you look in the top right, you'll have some picture that identifies your account. And you'll notice that in this current computer, I'm not signed in. It gives me the option to turn on sync. And that's really what you want to do, because if I go through this process here, I'm going to go ahead and just type in my iSchool self as I get this going. And this does a couple of different things for us. Number one, as we're signed into Chrome, it pre-signs us into many of the Google applications. And so as we go ahead and link the data, with whatever's tied to our account, it recognizes that we are synced with our behavioral selves. And so if you look in the top left, we'll have our HPS bookmarks so we can quickly get to the launch pad. It installs all of the extensions and apps that we might have added over the course of time. You'll notice it brings along all of my bookmarks as well. And then all of these Google things that you can sign in with Google, it'll just pre-sign you into all of this stuff right away. And so make sure that you're always keeping an eye up in the corner that you are signed in with your behavioral self. I mentioned one of the things that it keeps track of in Google when you're signed in are passwords. And so if we just pop over into our settings, there's a lot of different settings that you can look at. And so if I just start typing in the word passwords, it'll kind of jump down to this section here. And so if you have over the course of time had Google save your passwords, you will see these start to list down here so that it'll keep track of your passwords as you go. And so this will be an area that you can check over the course of time just to make sure that any saved passwords are either accurate or you can look them up if you need to from there. Let's talk about bookmarks for a second. You'll notice across the bar here, I have a bunch of different bookmarks. I even have a couple folders in here and a couple of links to important websites. And that's really the key at first, is that any website that you find to be interesting, it's something that you want to bookmark and save for later. And so as an example, let's see, Google Teach from Home. I've been accessing this site for a lot of Google tricks and tips that they've had over the course of this shutdown here. And so let's say this is a page I want to bookmark and have access to later on. Across from the name of the address here, I have the ability to hit this star, and that will immediately add it to as a bookmark into my account. So I have the opportunity to change the name, and then I have the opportunity to tell it where to go. And so if I choose bookmarks bar, it's just going to be right across the bar, and eventually it'll probably run out of room if I keep doing this over and over again, but I can also put it into a folder as I go as well. So for the moment, I'm just going to throw it into the bookmarks bar, and we'll see it just kind of plopped it right down there. And so now I have this quick access to this website later on. So that's great. And on any website you're on, visit it first, hit the little star, and you'll be able to have that organized and saved for later, so you don't have to keep Googling and trying to find it that way. The next piece, though, is this concept of file management or folder management with our bookmarks. Just like most things, if we just kind of let this go over the course of time, it can get pretty crazy, a little dysfunctional, a little disorganized, and ultimately not very helpful if we just let it pile up over time. And so one of your friends that you want to get accustomed to is from your triple dots. You can go to bookmarks and this concept called Bookmarks Manager. And what Bookmarks Manager is the place where you can go to manage your bookmarks naturally, right? And so what does manage bookmarks means? Well, it means that I can come into any of these guys here. I can edit that. So maybe I didn't type in the name that helpfully. And so I want to add some keywords to it so it's easier to find later on. Maybe I need to organize it. Maybe I want this first in my list. So I can drag and drop, and then that puts that first in the list. Or maybe I want to make a folder. So in my top right here, I can have the option to make a new folder. And if I add that, I'll call it tips and tricks as an example, and I can save that. And then now I have a folder called tips and tricks. So I can, again, move this anywhere you want. I can drag and drop items into it. And then I'm ready to go from there. So you'll see now I have that bookmark in there. So great rainy day project, perhaps, or just as part of your prep. Create a couple folders that are useful that you can use all the time, and just start to organize these bookmarks as you go. You can also make folders within folders. So whatever your file management strategy is, have at it, and you're ready to go from there. The other quick tip about bookmark folders that I've seen some folks use to great success is this idea of using folders as a quick way to organize material for the days of the week or for your lessons that you have. So as a quick example, if I add a new folder, and I'll call this Monday Links, and then I'll go ahead and make another folder called Tuesday Links. And then I think you get the idea here is now I have a couple folders, Monday Links and Tuesday Links. And so as I'm prepping for my week or my day, especially when it comes to doing remote sessions, and I don't want to be fumbling for links and have to open up 27 different things just to have them ready, I can pre-organize the things that I would use, whether it's a link to a document, a link to a website, a link to whatever, and then I have them available right from my bar, so I can quickly open them up when I need to. The other really kind of interesting thing about these bookmark folders is that when you're in any of them, if you use a right click, so if you have a mouse, it's a right click, or if you have one of those trackpads like I do, you click with 2 fingers, you have an option to open up all of the links in a folder right away. So if I click open all 5, it's going to take every single link that was in here and just open them all up for me. And so think of it this way, right? If I have a folder called Monday Links and I put all of the resources that I'm going to use on Monday, or maybe I have a folder called the lesson or certain a meeting or something like that, I can make a quick folder, throw a bunch of links in there, just right click on it, and then I can open them all up right away, and then bam, I'm done. I don't have to think about, did I open it? Do I have it ready? You know, it's all ready to go right there. So great trick here, become friends with your triple dots to the bookmarks and the Bookmarks Manager. Another thing I find really useful is taking advantage of what Google calls the startup tabs. So when you open up Chrome, you have the Launchpad is typically the default website that shows when you open up Chrome. But we have the ability to customize that. And so as a quick example, maybe you're always doing a couple things when you first open up your computer. Maybe you're always going to SchoolBrains. Maybe you're always checking your email. Maybe you're always keeping an eye on Google in your Drive. And then maybe we're always looking at Google Classroom these days too, right? So these are a few things that I'm constantly doing and having access to. And so I'm going to just go ahead and have these items open up in my tabs here. And then let's go to our settings in Chrome. I'll go to my triple dots and I'll go to settings. And this is where we can control what happens when we start up Chrome. So as we scroll down, you're going to have this option in here to what does it do on startup. We have a couple different choices, but I have the choice to open up a specific page or a set of pages. And so I already have mine set, so it opens up the Launchpad, Google Drive, and the calendar, but I can hit this Use Current Pages button. And if I do that, it's going to take all 5 of these tabs I have open, and then that will be what opens up as soon as I start Chrome. So I don't have to go through that clicking through and opening up all these different things. And so obviously use that with discretion. You don't want 27 million things opening up right away, but for your essential things that you want ready to go as soon as you open up Chrome, open them up first and then use this Use Current Pages button so that you can start up a little bit more efficiently. Another trick I wanted to share with you is this idea of being able to pin a tab. Often we spend time in virtual meetings on Google Meets, and we have different websites open in various places. And I know it happens to the best of us sometimes where we accidentally close the Google Meet session. We overwrite it with a website, or we lose where we are and it's closed out in a window. And so what we have as this ability here is that any of the tabs we have open, we can actually pin it so it kind of locks it into place here. And so I'm just going to quickly join a session here, and I'll show you what this looks like. So I'm in a meet. Say I'm presenting, I'm doing whatever I need to do here. If I go back to my friend, the right click right at the top, you'll notice I have an option in here to pin this tab. And I'm going to go ahead and choose that. And what happens is a little subtle, so you have to maybe pay attention a little bit to where it goes when it does it. But notice in my tab bar now, I have this little Meet tab that's here. It's kind of separate than all the named ones that I have, but you'll notice that this is my Meet. And I can't do anything with it. I can move, I can try to like slide it around, I can try to close out of it, I can do other things, but it actually won't let me close out of it because I've pinned it into place. And so that can be a great tool to just make sure you lock the most important tab into place, and then you can do whatever you want to do on the other side of things just so that you don't accidentally get out of it. And then naturally, if I right click on it again, I can unpin it, and then I'm back to my normal flow from there. Okay, the last thing I want to talk about as a productivity tip and trick today is this concept of tab groups. So we covered like bookmarks for some more permanent organization. We talked about folders to manage those bookmarks and have them accessible from there. The startup groups are great. The pinning and tab is a great idea as well. But this concept of tab groups kind of takes us a step further for those that, just like me, have to manage many different tabs at one time, and you need a way to kind of organize them a little bit. It's more of a temporary organization. I don't need to save this in a folder for later. I just need to organize it as I'm working today. And so I have a bunch of different tabs open here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to set this up as a tab group so you can kind of see how that works. And this comes back to the idea of our right click. So if I'm on a link here, I can right click on the name of the tab. And what I have the ability to do here is I can add it to a new tab group. And as I choose that, I'm going to name this group Workshop, and I can give it a color. And you'll notice that just visually here, I have the label here, and you kind of get this outline that goes across it here. And so I've started the concept of a group. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go to another tab. I'm going to add this to the Workshop group. I'll do the same thing for this one. Right, and then I'm going to go over here, and then I'm going to make a new group, and I'm going to call this Google, and I'm going to add this one to it, and then I'll add this one to that same group as well. And so what you can see is I have a bunch of different tabs open, but now what I have is these guys actually kind of stay together. And so I have the ability to separate them. I have the ability to move them all as one. I have the ability to close it. So when I'm done with them all at once, I can get rid of them all at the same time. I just have some quick organization and flexibility. So as I'm building my day, if it's helpful, I can label them, I can color code them, and I can keep all the tabs that are important to me grouped together in like manner. And so for those of us that want a different way of managing all these tabs at once, this can be a great way to do that. And hopefully that'll be a nice little tool in your tool belt. All right, everybody, that's it for our newsletter this month. I hope you enjoyed it. Hopefully these tips are helpful. Spend a little time organizing your bookmarks, getting some folders going, and practice some of the muscle memory of tab groups or pinning or using that startup and folder concept that we looked at. Hope you all take care. Definitely stay safe and well during this season, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.